This is part 3 of the Air Force vs. Coast Guard video series. Please, if you haven't already, go and just click the description box or up above. The little box will come up here, and you can go see part 1 where I initially start talking to Kyle about his experience of being prior Air Force and then transitioning to the Coast Guard. So please enjoy the interview. What is the work culture like, the Air Force versus the Coast Guard?
Uh, it's very, like I said, it's a little bit more depersonalizing in the Air Force. You're a number, you're waiting in line. I mean, you have your coworkers that you're strong with, but with like the Coast Guard, when you meet somebody, you're most likely going to see them again. Whereas with the Air Force, you meet somebody, you probably will never see them again in your life. It's Coast Guard is a little bit more tight knit, in my opinion, because there's so few of us, and it's really cool when we meet each other every single time that we're out and about. Another big thing is that we're mostly in the U.S., whereas Air Force is like worldwide. Not to say that the Coast Guard isn't worldwide. It's just we deal more with our homeland security than we do with other countries in that aspect.
Okay, and with let's say going back to that, you're doing your 4 years. What can you expect what can you expect your Air Force career to be like and feel like if you're just doing 4 years versus let's say like the Coast Guard?
So with the Air Force, you get training, you get through. As soon as you get to your new unit, they're already like they make sure that you're set in, that you know what you're doing. And then after you get initiated that way, like what's it called, competencies, and just getting like different competencies ready, they then go ahead and go like, all right, now it's time to start college, because like the Air Force has their own community college that you can get accredited through. Like Coast Guard doesn't have that. You actually have to go to an accredited college away from that. Air Force will help you get your associate's degree like that. Like you can start taking classes, going through, and you'll get your associate's degree through the community college of the Air Force.
That is a very interesting and different way that they kind of do that. So even a person that is coming in for 4 years, they want to invest in them to get their college degree. What about that? Because like in the Coast Guard, there's no pressure to get your degree on that. That is entirely up to you if you want to become. Typically,
Right.
people do it either because they want to, take advantage of the tuition assistance, or they are looking to transition out, or they want to become an officer. What in the Air Force makes them so eager for everybody to get college
Well,
education?
that's one of the things that the Air Force prides itself on, is that their people, they're smart and they know it. And so it's like when they get in, they're like they push for that college. So that way they're like, hey, we need you to go to college so you can get more experience in the knowledge capacity to bring that to our workforce, to make us better, to change. And then that's another big thing that the Air Force does. They want you to continually be in the books of their own, like command books, and trying to change different policies to make it better. They want that. If you're not doing that, they kind of like frown upon that. I mean, I got frowned upon because I kind of treated it as a job. I was young. I didn't really understand the mentality of it. So when I went to work, I went to work just to work, go home, and then do whatever I wanted to do. That mentality isn't really a good one to have when you're joining the Air Force, because they want you to better the mission, to be better than what you were yesterday, every single day.
That is a very interesting. I think that's really golden in the differentiator between like the Air Force versus the Coast Guard, because obviously the Coast Guard, it's like we have very limited budget even right now still with tuition assistance. And it's just like, yeah, you can stay in and do 20 years and not do any college, and it's like, okay, as long as you're as long as you advance and have enough time, it's like you'll do a career. While the Air Force, it sounds like if you aren't educating yourself and you're not trying to invest into the Air Force and your own education, then what do they just like? Do they drop you? Do they basically say you're not allowed to advance? You can no longer serve in the Air Force?
I mean, I got myself in that situation where I didn't do it, and my command's like, you're not meeting the expectations that the Air Force has for you. I mean, I was getting great in my marks and everything, yeah, but the Air Force really wants you to invest in not only the Air Force, but in yourself. And they want you to keep that going to better yourself. And so that it's really cool if you think about it from that aspect of like the Air Force raises you. They're like, hey, you're doing great. Get up there. Keep meeting those challenges. But at the same time, if you're kind of lazy and don't want to be there, yeah, they're going to find out and they're probably going to hold you back. They're going to be like, yeah, we don't want you to stay in because your mentality is kind of bringing everybody else down. So you got to be really careful with that. Like I said,
Is that college education using tuition assistance, or is this separate?
using tuition assistant, they really harp on the tuition assistance, and like that's one of the cool things about the Air Force. Their tuition assistance is a little bit higher than ours in the Coast Guard. So like I think it's like 4,500 a year to go to class. So they really harp on that. Going to tuition assistance before even using your GI Bill or your 911, whichever one you have.
So once you've kind of, because using your tuition assistance is pretty easy to exhaust that in a short amount of time if you're like going to like college like University of Phoenix. Do they like really pressure you to start using your GI Bill after you've used your tuition assistance, like keep using it, or do they just want you to just take classes here and there as long as you're making an effort?
Number one thing they want you to do is get your associate's degree. After that, it kind of like dies down a little bit. So like the tuition assistance will get you your associate's degree. You like depending upon what you did and where you went, they'll give you a little bit more for like going towards your bachelor's. But again, odds are you're going to start using your GI Bill. They won't harp on it as much, but they still want you to do it.
Now, is this like in hopes of you becoming like an officer, or is this just like just to be educated?
They give you every opportunity. Like they'll even ask you, do you want to be an officer? If you don't want to be an officer, they don't push you to be an officer. They want you to choose what you want to do with your career, but they want you to have that knowledge and bring to the table your degree and your brand new knowledge to make it better.
Now, is this specific maybe to a particular portion of the Air Force? Like you said that there's certain jobs where it's just like a general like mechanic, food service type stuff. Are they just, is this like across the board? Everybody should be striving to get at least their associate's degree, and if you're not striving for more, then they might not advance you, or maybe kick you out of the service.
It's really based on your command, which most commands will want you to pursue that. So yeah, I think it's across the scale. Air Force, they want you to keep going to school. They want you to excel, to aim high.
Now, so let's say a person wants to join the military to, for the benefits, for the education. Which service would you say would be more conducive to that? Hope you guys liked this video. If you did, give it a big thumbs up and consider subscribing if you haven't already. If you want to keep watching and you want to see the full series of this interview, check out right here or keep watching right here. Until next time, peace out.